Fan request. So the question was posed to me: what would be my reaction if Portugal and Argentina met in the World Cup final? In other words, this question is pretty much coded for Football Pharaoh. How would you respond if Messi and Ronaldo met in the final? That's not to say Argentina and Portugal are just Messi and Ronaldo, because they're not. As I've made many points on this video before, I have relentlessly defended Portugal against claims of being a one-man sideshow. Um, Argentina is also not one, but the criticisms they had back in a few years ago, I think between like 2008 until 2012, that sort of 4 year period when everyone was calling them a one-man team and Messi, that's sort of resurfacing now that Messi has single-handedly got them to the World Cup. And the fact that Argentina is struggling so much lately in front of goal to find the back of the net, I think they finished the second lowest scoring team in South America. And giving given the embarrassment and riches they have in attacking talent up front, that's just stunning. It's stunning because there's no excuse for it. They should have been a higher scoring side than Brazil were in qualifying. But anyway, they're not one man teams. Okay. What do I think would happen if they met in the final? I guess you're kind of asking me who I think would win, right? I mean, that's pretty much what the question is implying. You want a brutally honest answer? I'm going to give you a straight answer. I'm going to give you a cop-out answer. I'm going to give you the cop-out answer first, because cop-out answers are always the worst kind of answers. It would honestly, it would depend on. I would have to see them play all of their matches en route to the final, because if Portugal's winning all their games 1-0 and they get to the final, I'm going to start thinking they look a little suspect. So it just depends on so much. It depends on injuries, suspensions, fatigue from the Champions League season, or whatever clubs some of these players play for internationally. And then it all depends on form in the tournament itself, from the group stages all the way to the final. So that's my cop-out answer. My straight answer, if you want me to answer right now, I'm going with Portugal. I'm going with Portugal because I just think that they're not better than Argentina man per man, but I just feel like I trust Portugal more to get results in a final. I trust. I don't trust Argentina. I said it many times. Look, yeah, you can say Messi pulled Argentina through the qualifying phase against Ecuador a few weeks ago, but that's different. That's different. This is a different stage, and this is a stage that Argentina just psychologically gets mind-boggled. I'm sorry, and it's not just in the last 3 years with the two Copa Americas and the World Cup. It's going back all the way to the year I was born. This is a team that in the last 20, 25 years, they've reached finals of major tournaments. I'm talking Copa Americas, even before the Chilean wave, Copa Americas from the early 2000s, Confederations Cups in the 90s. This team they love silver. They love silver medals. So I'm going to go with Portugal. I mean, if you put me on the spot right now, who I think would win that final between Portugal and Argentina, I'm going with Portugal. Because if Argentina is struggling to score goals now, they really would struggle against Portugal. And all it takes is for Portugal just to nab them on the counter 1-0. I could see like a 1-0 victory to Portugal in that scenario. You know. And also, this opens up a segue into a topic that I think is very interesting. What would it mean for Messi and Ronaldo's legacy? How would they compare to each other? I'm going to be honest with you. This was, this question that you gave me sort of extends to another question that was posed to the YouTuber Have Hope Football Hut. What would it mean for Messi and Ronaldo's legacy? Because you have to think Portugal, Argentina in the final. Look, if Ronaldo wins a World Cup, I still think Messi will go down as a better player because he is a better player. I mean, but I think Ronaldo's legacy is going to be greater. Let me ask you a question. What if Real three-peat? What if Real win the Champions League next in 2018, and then 2-3 months later, Portugal wins the World Cup? Because think about it. They're equal to each other on Champions League trophies. They both have 4. Messi has more La Liga titles at 20. I think Messi has 8 La Liga titles. Ronaldo has 5. Messi's never won anything with his country. Ronaldo has won a European championship. And no matter what anyone tells you, the 2 biggest trophies in international football are if Ronaldo wins the World Cup and he already has a European championship with Portugal, that's 2 titles he will have with his country that Messi does not have. He has 0. And like I just said, those are the 2 biggest trophies in international soccer. The Euros are better than the Copa America. The Euros are better than the African Cup of Nations. They're better than the Asian Championship. Better than the Gold Cup. Sure as hell better than the Oceanian Cup. So, one of this is Messi can't really control. Messi is not from a European country. He can't participate in the Euros. Cannot hold that against him. However, if Ronaldo wins a World Cup, I'm sorry. I think his legacy will forever be better. Because think about this. Players' legacies are mostly dictated by results. Specifically results in major tournaments. Let me ask you a question. Do you think Pelé would be considered the greatest of all time if he didn't win 3 World Cups? Let's say he had all the talent that he did, but he didn't win any World Cups with Brazil. Do you think we would be discussing him right now as the best of all time? And if your answer to that question is still yes, let me provide you some evidence with somebody who, in my opinion, was just as skilled as Pelé, but didn't win anything. And his name was Johan Cruyff. He didn't win anything for his country. I don't really see him anywhere in conversations amongst the best of all time. Sure, a mention in the top 10, even top 5 for people who appreciated his tenure. But you always hear Pelé, Ronaldo, Brazil, Ronaldo, Pelé, Maradona. That's and Zidane, of course, that you hear him in the conversation as well. So, whether or not you agree that results and championship and gold is the primary factor, and for folks who look back on a player's legacy, whether or not you agree that's right or if it's wrong, that's still the case. It's still most of what we think. And I think Messi, if he never wins anything with Argentina, he'll be remembered 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now as one of the best players. But the fact that he won't win anything with his country, it's going to make the case that he's the greatest of all time less convincing. That's what I'm trying to say. He'll always be in this discussion as one of the best players to ever grace the pitch. But it's going to be more up for debate whether he's the greatest of all time because he hasn't won anything for his country. And I'm sorry, but that's true. So, if Ronaldo wins the World Cup, he won't be a better player than Messi. He won't be more skilled than Messi. But I have to agree with HH. I think he's greater. I think he would be greater. because nothing really stands out to me on this Portugal team that makes me think they would have a supreme advantage over Argentina. Man per man, I don't see Portugal being better than Argentina. I think they're about on the same level. Though I think Portugal right now in current form is slightly better. But it's not like we're taking Messi and we're putting him in the Estonian national team. He can't win anything because he doesn't have the help. He has more than enough help. Now, I know what you're saying. Well, Argentina's been in poor form lately. They're not scoring goals. Messi's carrying this team. Yeah, you're right. Messi is carrying this team. But I'm saying with the amount... Ooh, it's windy. With the amount of talent that Argentina has, it's not exactly like Messi's getting the short end of the stick here. So, imagine this scenario. Imagine Real Madrid three-peats, wins the Champions League again. Let's say Real win the Liga, and Portugal wins the World Cup. I don't think that's going to happen. But imagine all three happen. Real wins the Liga, and the Champions League, and Portugal wins the World Cup. Are you still going to tell me that Messi's legacy is going to be greater than Ronaldo? Come on. But, we'll see what happens. But to answer the question, who would I trust more to win that final? I'm going Portugal. I'm going Portugal. So, see you guys in my next video. Until then, much love. Peace out. Have a good day.